The rain tasted like acid, not the sharp, burning kind, but a slow creeping corrosion that felt like it was dissolving something fundamental. Lieutenant Jessa Chen spat, wiping her visor, the phosphorescent green slime clinging to everything, the skeletal remains of buildings, the twisted metal of the atmospheric process aglow, sickly, under the dim light of Kepler 186 F. "Report," she barked, her voice tight. The con crackled in her ear. "Still nothing, Lieutenant." Ray's voice was a high-pitched whine, strained with anxiety. "Energy signature is muted. Just gone. Like someone pulled the plug. Atmospheric readings. Holding steady but wrong. Still can't get the lock on the original colony's atmospheric regulator. It's like it never existed." Jessa chewed on her lip. New Eden. A ghost town frozen in time, draped in the eerie green glow. Ether showed what stated the entire colony had vanished without a trace 20 years prior. A planetary survey team had discovered it, perfectly preserved but deserted. No signs of violence, no wreckage, no bodies. Just gone. Silver status on the processor. Structural integrity is compromised, Lieutenant. Significant energy expenditure in the last few cycles. Whatever hit this place hit it ****. Silver's voice was flat, almost toneless. Jessa couldn't quite read him. He's been increasingly withdrawn since they landed. She shifted her gaze to Sergeant Major Thorne, who stood silently at the edge of the central plaza, staring up at the monolithic structure that dominated the area. It was the reason they were here, the source of the anomaly, a colossal, shimmering, organic form that pulsed with an internal green light. It wasn't natural. Nothing about it was natural. Thorne hadn't spoken much since they arrived. He's been distant, unusually passive. The pragmatic, battle-hardened Sergeant Major she knew was buried beneath something else, something she couldn't quite grasp. "Sergeant Major?" Jessa prompted. Thorne didn't respond immediately. He seemed lost in thought, his eyes fixed on the monolith. When he finally spoke, his voice was softer than usual, almost serene. "It's beautiful, Lieutenant. Don't you think?" The words struck Jessa like a physical blow. Beautiful? This thing radiated an alien intelligence that felt profoundly unsettling. "It's an anomaly, Sergeant Major. We're here to investigate, not admire," she said, forcing the words out. She felt a tremor in her own hands, a sudden wave of dizziness. Thorne turned to her, and she was startled by the expression on his face. It wasn't the stern, professional gaze of a seasoned soldier. It was something else. A calmness, a quiet acceptance, a disturbingly placid smile. "It's more than an anomaly, Lieutenant. It's a connection." Before she could respond, a tremor ran through the ground. The green light pulsing from the monolith intensified, and the phosphorescent slime seemed to writhe. "Contact!" Ray screamed. "Multiple contacts. Bearing 09er. Jessa spun around, activating a combat visor. Emerging from the surrounding forest were creatures unlike anything she's ever seen. Elongated, serpentine forms with glistening black skin and eyes that glowed with an unnerving intelligence. They moved with a fluid grace, their bodies rippling as they advanced. "Bravo 3. Engage," she barked, raising her pulse rifle. The forest erupted in a hail of laser fire. Silver unleashed a devastating burst, taking down 2 of the creatures instantly. Ray scrambled for cover, his voice a panic squeal. "They're too fast. They're everywhere." Jessa fired a controlled burst, hitting one of the creatures in the torso. It staggered but didn't fall. Ease went the mindless beasts they're trained to fight. They moved with purpose, with coordination. Then Thorne moved, not to engage the enemy, but to step forward towards the monolith. "Sergeant Major, what are you doing?" Jessa shouted, but her voice was lost in the chaos of battle. Thorne stopped just before the base of the monolith. He raised his hands, palms open, as if offering himself to the structure. The monolith's green light intensified, bathing him in its eerie glow. "They're not our enemies, Lieutenant," Thorne said, his voice calm and resonant. "They're guides." A wave of nausea washed over Jessa. She felt a strange pressure behind her eyes, a creeping sense of disorientation. Images flooded her mind, geometric patterns, swirling colors, a cacophony of alien voices. She fought to maintain her focus, to resist the insidious influence. "Thorne, snap out of it," she yelled, but her words felt hollow, distant. Suddenly, Thorne's eyes opened. They were no longer the eyes of a human being. They glowed with the same unnerving green light as the monolith. He smiled, a slow, serene smile that sent a shiver down her spine. "Join us, Lieutenant," he said, his voice a perfect imitation of his own, yet subtly alien. "Embrace the connection." Jessa stumbled backward, her vision blurring. The alien voices grew louder, more insistent. She reached for her helmet con, desperate to transmit a priority message, to warn command. "This is Lieutenant Chen requesting immediate extract." Her words were cut off by a surge of overwhelming pressure. Her body stiffened, her muscles locked. She felt her consciousness slipping, dissolving into the swirling vortex of alien imagery. The last thing she saw before everything went black was Sergeant Major Thorne, standing before the monolith, his face radiating a terrifying serenity, his eyes glowing with an alien light. And the single, chilling thought echoed in her mind: ****. Ray's screamed, a high-pitched, desperate sound. I can't block it. The signal. It's overwhelming me." He collapsed to the ground, clutching his head, his body racked with tremors. The alien signal was penetrating his psychic defenses, corrupting his mind. "Rays, what's happening?" Silver roared, firing a volley of laser fire at the encroaching Xenos. Rays' voice was a strangled whisper. It's in my head. The connection. It's showing me everything." He began to chant, a strange, guttural language that echoed the alien voices in Jess's fading consciousness. The chanting grew louder, more insistent, drowning out the sounds of battle. Silver charged forward, attempting to reach Rays, but a Xeno darted out from the forest, striking him in the chest with a paralyzing toxin. He crumpled to the ground, his body convulsing. "Silver, no!" Jessa tried to shout, but her voice was lost in the escalating chaos. The alien influence was closing in, suffocating her. She felt herself being drawn into the vortex, her identity dissolving into the collective consciousness of the monolith. Then darkness. Absolute, terrifying darkness. The signal abruptly cut out. The images vanished. The voices silence. Silence. Alone Xena, its black skin shimmering in the green glow of the monolith, extended a long, slender appendage towards Sergeant Major Thorne. It emitted a series of clicks and whistles, a complex communication that seemed to convey a sense of satisfaction. Thorne's eyes, still glowing with an alien light, focused on the Xeno. He tilted his head in a gesture of acknowledgement. "The connection is complete," he said, his voice now perfectly aligned with the alien consciousness. "The assimilation has begun." The monolith pulsed with an intensified light, bathing the deserted colony of New Eden in an eerie, otherworldly glow. The stage was set for a new era, an era of unity, an era of expansion, an era of something beyond human comprehension.